The arrest of District 5 Commissioner Regina Hill. Arrested earlier this week, Hill is now charged with elderly exploitation and fraud. According to the state, Hill took advantage of a 96-year-old woman who lives in her district, stealing $100,000 from her. Hill's charges stem from a 13-month investigation by FDLE.
Orlando Commissioner Regina Hill has been suspended from her post after she was indicted and arrested on charges of 7 felonies, largely stemming from elder abuse. Let's have a look. Orlando's Commissioner Regina Hill is arrested for stealing more than $100,000 from a 96-year-old woman and using money on a facelift. Orlando City Commissioner Regina Hill has been charged with elderly exploitation after she allegedly stole more than $100,000 from a 96-year-old woman in her district.
According to these documents, Hill and the 96-year-old woman had no prior relationship. It started when Hill became aware that the woman was living in deplorable conditions back in 2021, and it was her former aide who spoke to investigators. Here, we are just looking at the finances, and according to the FDLE investigator, the elderly woman had more than $164,000 in the bank, but now $100,000 of it gone. And charges on her credit card, they say, are now at nearly 10 grand. The woman told investigators that she didn't give Hill permission to use that money, but Hill is not quoted in these documents, but she told us on the phone today the allegations are false.
Hill, 58, bonded out of the Orange County Jail on Thursday just hours after being arrested over 7 felony crimes following a year-long investigation into the alleged scam.
Orlando City Commissioner Regina Hill bonded out of the Orange County Jail just hours before.
Regina Hill.
Hill was standing before a judge to answer for the 7 charges she now faces, including multiple counts of exploitation of an elderly person and fraud.
Entered plea of not guilty on all accounts.
Attorney James Smith represented Hill today. He says Hill continues to maintain she did nothing wrong.
Obviously, the allegations against her are serious and shocking, but it's incredibly important to remember one thing. In the eyes of the law, she's presumed to be innocent.
But the Florida Department of Law Enforcement said it has found evidence that shows otherwise.
Mrs. Hill effectively betrayed the trust of her community by taking advantage of a 96-year-old elderly citizen, which is one of the most vulnerable in that community.
State investigators say they've been looking into Hill since February 2023 after receiving a tip from her former aide. Investigators say through witness interviews and a review of financial documents, they found Hill established power of attorney over a 96-year-old woman who she met in her district.
Governor Ron DeSantis issued an executive order on Monday suspending Hill from her post as commissioner for District 5 in Orlando following news of her arrest.
Governor Ron DeSantis announced he is suspending Hill from her commission seat.
What I do is when I see somebody's been charged like that for felony offenses, it's just a matter of course that we've done that, and so we did it in this instance.
Florida investigators say Hill used a power of attorney over the unnamed elderly victim to fund a lavish lifestyle for years that included a home in the Lake Man Estates area of Orlando. Aside from securing a mortgage and renovating a home, Hill also splashed over $100,000 on a facelift, perfume, clothing, IV vitamins, a trip to Miami, and dental surgery, according to court documents.
Allegedly bought a home with the woman listed as a co-owner without her approval, and allegedly spent over $100,000 of the victim's money on things like a facelift, a New Year's Eve vacation in Miami, and spending money on home repairs.
Hill moved into a vacant home that the victim had inherited from her family and then used the victim's personal finances to pay for renovations on that home, while the victim's primary residence where she lived remained in disrepair.
Investigators say the alleged acts date back to 2021. They say the 96-year-old woman didn't realize she had signed over financial power to Hill and didn't realize the extent of the alleged spending until she was approached during the investigation.
According to court documents, Hill met the woman in March 2021 in her commissioner job and was supposed to help her get better living conditions. But within a month, she had become her power of attorney. Hill's son and girlfriend are believed to be living in the home of the former city employee obtained with the power of attorney. Meanwhile, Hill reportedly lives in a separate home that once belonged to the elderly woman's parents, which she allegedly spent a large portion of the savings to renovate. Hill also used the woman's savings for a New Year's vacation to Miami and on a large number of intravenous vitamins from a company named Vital Lounge. This is allegedly the home that was obtained using the woman's power of attorney that Hill's son and his girlfriend allegedly live in. And this is the home that was allegedly renovated using this elderly woman's funds, and the home that Ms. Hill allegedly lived in. Hill has had numerous other brushes with the law that surfaced when she first ran for office in 2014. According to the Orlando Sentinel, news emerged during her run that she had a rap sheet with 21 previous arrests dating back to 1983. The arrests included drug offenses, DUIs, fraud, and passing bad checks. She was also arrested in 2022 in Birmingham for public intoxication.
Hill also served her country in the U.S. Navy and was a nurse for 25 years. But she also has a lengthy criminal history dating back to the 80s, including drug and public intoxication charges.
FDLE Special Agent Steve Brenton reportedly asked the woman about signing over her power of attorney and said she recalled signing some sort of document but did not understand it and would never have agreed to allow Hill to be a power of attorney. Brenton continued that when he looked into Hill's spending, these purchases and or bank withdrawals exceeded $100,000 and solely benefited Hill. This is Miss Hill's son, who was allegedly living in this woman's home, and he has had numerous brushes with the law. The agent's affidavit noted that before Hill met the elderly woman had over $164,000 in her bank account and around a $650,000 credit card balance. As of October, she was left with $60,000 in her bank account and $10,000 on her credit card. So it appears that if all of these allegations are true, Ms. Hill is going to have some problems on her hands, because we really don't like it when people commit elder abuse here in Florida, given that we have such a large population of elderly people. It's a very target-rich environment, and we want to discourage this as much as possible. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below, and check out my other video on this topic where I go through the indictment so you can see what this woman has been charged with. For now, my name is Nathan Saunders, and this is The Legal Good.